Howdy, howdy, howdy. This isn't my first YouTube video, but I decided to get philosophical with a song. And so yeah, I made one of these before on the topic of relationships, but this one's going to get more into philosophy and 21st century politics, 20th century politics, which then carry over into the 21st century. Anyway, these things I don't know where to start normally, and I'm really into like Alan Watts and Jordan Peterson and centrist politics, but you know, where the fuck is the centre now these days? Anyway, we're going to do R.E.M, Men on the Moon, which is pretty interesting kind of theme song for the current age of manic conspiracies and a total lack of evidence to the contrary that there's not these conspiracies, but you know, ow, ant biting me. But you know, for any suspected act of dishonesty or criminality, there has to be a motive, and you know, what's the motive for a 5G tower that's gonna kill us? You know, it's kind of like Day of the Triffids. It's a little bit far-fetched, so anyway, we'll try and keep it a little bit grounded. So this is a Man on the Moon, so it's going to be part music lesson, part philosophical discussion, political, philosophical. So we start in C, which is normally, but I like putting the bass note in there. So anyway, this is Michael Stipe, Man on the Moon. Martha Hooper in the game of life. Yeah. Whoops, I think I fucked that up. Martha Hooper in the game of life. Yeah. So it's C and D. Andy Kaufman in the wrestling match. Yeah. Monopoly 21, checkers and chess. Yeah. Mr. Fred Blassie in a breakfast mess. Yeah. Let's play Twister, let's play Risk. Yeah. See you in heaven if you make the list. Yeah. So it's like, you know, the song's about the moon landing conspiracy, but it's already swung over into religion. You know, see you in heaven if you make the list. And it's through the lens of popular culture and Andy Kaufman, who was a pretty well-known American comedian. And the film Man on the Moon was made about him after the song. I'm not sure. Better check that up. And Andy Kaufman died of cancer apparently, but then there's a suspicion that he faked his own death just as a, well, his friends didn't know, because he was just that was his style of comedy. It's just darkness and yeah, anyway. And so yeah, the song does go, you know, it's a big crossover between religion and 21st century pop culture and the influence of modern corporate political structure. And so then it's, Andy, did you hear about this one? So it's A minor and G. Are you locked in the bunch? Andy, are There was many theories that Elvis wasn't dead. Many people still believe he's still alive. I'm not sure how old he'd be now, but so yeah, there's are you goofing on Elvis, you know? And just how hypnotised are we by this pop culture, and how much of it, you know, was. He mentioned Fred Blassie before in A Breakfast Mess, and just, you know, so this television, this obviously being hypnotised by the television. We're hypnotised by our YouTube films, and you know, we spent evolutionary culture being hypnotised by a fire and telling each other stories, and so this is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an extension of it. And when Coca-Cola tells you that, you know, happiness is in a red can of sugar and food acid, then you know, that's a bit of a worry. That's where I see that, you know, the hypnosis is not being used for benevolent purposes. But yeah, you know, at the heart of it, if you think of the things that you love about modern culture and television, and, you know, Friends, for instance, you know, it's people acting out different scenarios and it's part learning, part just entertainment. So and how much of, and I think Michael Stipe's questioning how much how much of a role religion played in this hypnosis. And there's a kookaburra keeping us in the loop, saying, hey, that's some funny shit you're doing down there. Alright, and the next bit is if you believe, it's a G and A. If you believe to see, put a man on the moon, D and G. Man on the moon, A minor to D. If you believe, there's nothing up there. Whoops, hang on, sorry. If you believe, there's nothing up there, sleep. Uh-oh, I got it wrong. The staff of wood. Second verse. So yeah, that's the chorus about if you believe the man on the moon. You know, that's maybe as close as popular culture got to mass hypnosis, because whether you believe it or not, it just seems unlikely. But maybe it was so necessary at that time that, yeah, people had to believe in this big thing that, wow, land on the moon. But then is that any more of a jump into suspension of disbelief than the belief of Judeo-Christianity, and that, you know, there is only one God and that only one way to think, and that is superior to everything else, and the damage that was done by that certainty that, yep, you know, the spread of Western culture across North America and Australia and you know, colonialism through Asia and Africa, and how much damage was done by that phenomena, then you know, that's a big mistake to make if it turns out, oh, hang on, no, these people had a right to live their own way, and, you know, what have we lost through that? hopefully I'm not. Hopefully I'm not waffling on shit too much. But anyway, been wanting to make this another YouTube video and a regular input to the contribution, and a regular contribution to what you know to the world of philosophy and belief, and hopefully one day I get to the level of philosophy-tude and contrapoints, and so I'm not, so I've got left and right leanings, and just looking for an interesting angle to find what is actually real. Right, so it's Moses went walking with the staff of wood. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Newton got bean by the apple good. Yeah, 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 yeah. Egypt was troubled by the horrible asp. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mr. Charles Darwin had the gall to ask. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's, it's a lot of ground covered right there. Moses went walking with a staff of wood, Is that the basic premise of Judeo-Christianity, Protestant culture? The theory, the story, the fantasy that that the Jews were enslaved by Egypt, and Egypt was a real thing. The ancient Israel was a real thing too, and but apparently there's no actual historical evidence that the two ever met, and that blew my fucking mind when I heard that not so long ago, that it could have well been just made up after the Babylonian period of slavery. So we're getting into some fucking pretty deep shit here, which is historically, evident that the Jews were enslaved by Babylon and then set free and went back to Israel, where there was still a considerable Jewish population living there, and then the two very different peoples had to combine again. So anyway, so we've got that. Moses went walking with the staff of wood. Newton got beaten by the apple good. Here comes science, just to say, is the Holy Trinity really the basis of our conscious existence? Do we have this set of rules, carved in fucking rock by Moses? Or is there a different set of rules that, the apple obeys, and so too does everything else seem to obey those rules of science until you get down to the particle, and then that's another interesting turn in the story. But Newton got beaten by the apple good. Moses walking with a staff of wood. Yeah, 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 yeah. Newton got beaten by the apple good. Yeah, 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 yeah. Egypt was troubled by the horrible asp. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mr. Charles Darwin had the gall to ask. Yeah, 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 yeah. Andy, did you hear about this one? Tell me, are you locked in the punch? Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby, are we having the never believers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's a little ghost for the offering. Yeah, 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 yeah. Here's a truck stop instead of St. Peter's. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mr. Andy Kaufman's gone missing, yeah. It's my favourite line there, that here's a truck stop instead of St. Peter's. Like, here's scientific progress and Western superiority in all things, thanks to oil and, well, steam engine, printing press, the modes of modern construction, and so much more damage have we done when, religion didn't die, it just got challenged, and it's still not dead. It's still people clinging to flat earth theories and creationism, and and if you're going to believe in one religion, why not consider the possibility that all of them might have some truth in them? Because that's where I'm at. I'm kind of a pantheist. I don't disbelieve in anything, and I find Buddhism and the Bhagavad Gita and Alan Watts, man, that guy's switched on, and it's just so helpful just to think, hey, it doesn't break down the world, it just breaks down the construction in our minds of like certainty that, oh, this is this way, and it leads to so much unhappiness. So there's just a flexibility just to see the world with innocent eyes is a gift. So that's where I'm really at, and we know now that, hey, as much damage as fundamental religion has done to us culturally, emotionally, physically, all of the above, how much damage has science and commerce and the new sacred quantity is that of choice, and that people have a freedom of choice, and that therefore we have got a freedom of commerce. So advertising, it's like that's been the new religion. And you watch a series like Mad Men, and you see that we're coming out of very troubled times, and this was just a new phenomenon, like good or bad. That they eventually said, well, no, you can't sell tobacco as a health product because it's obviously not healthy. And that was huge. And then luckily they're not selling Coca-Cola and Mountain Dew and Pepsi and all of the above as health drinks, because it's got an epidemic of diabetes and tooth decay and horrible shit coming out of this, and so they're still getting away with it. It's just that people are now aware that, oh, you need to just drink water, maybe, water's good. and the man on the moon, like, we've got to, if we can consider, okay, maybe that was just a story like Moses. It was necessary for people had a choice whether they could believe it or not, and it was sold pretty convincingly, and it brought cohesion into a culture that was falling apart, very broken as we are. But hopefully we can see past that, and that's 20 minutes, so I think that's long enough. That's long enough. Ow, ow, ow.